Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of February 26th, taking us into March of 2024. And let me tell you, this week out the gate, it is a very busy, it is a very active week, but in the beginning of the week, we get 2 days back to back that are rest while also being packed with the energy that we need to just be getting things done. So it's a real what? And don't worry, I'll break all of that down for you in this weekly forecast. Now, if we haven't met before, I'm practicing professional astrologer Stormie Grace. I am an evolutionary and a humanistic astrologer, and that's important for you to know so that you can decide if you like content that comes through the lens of those two different disciplines. So if you do, I'm your gal, and I'm happy to have you here. Hopefully you will hit the subscribe button and join the astrology soulmate family tribe that we've got here, because we've got a beautiful community. If you want to learn astrology, if you want to discuss and share how your astrology is unfolding, we just have such a beautiful community that you can join and share in the comment section down below. I know I would love to have you. I would also love to have you right now. Just hit the subscribe button. Just hit it. Give me a year. And if in a year you're like, I don't like her, then you can leave and you can have your subscription button refunded. All right, hit the subscribe button and join the tribe, okay? All right, now also this week, you guys, it is the last couple days that we've got for you to join two of my programs that are going on. One, it is the Knowledge to Fluency program that is going on, and it is all chart synthesis. So if that's you, if you've got your planets, your signs, your houses, your aspects kind of down, and you just are not sure how to put that chart together and then speak it out so that you can really deliver a good interpretation or a consultation, or if you've kind of got it but you need more practice, this is going to be the 6-week program for you, because that is all we are doing, is putting these charts together, speaking them out. We're going to do it so that you start speaking the language of astrology in our very first class. So if that is you, I would love to have you. Click in the description box down below. We start just in 2 weeks, so you want to make sure that you're all signed up. Now, if you are also one of our friends who is a creative entrepreneur in any way, you do something creative, song bowls, tarot, astrology, cats with cucumbers, whatever you're into, and you are not on YouTube, or you're afraid to come onto YouTube, you're leaving money, you're leaving opportunity, you're leaving a bit of your freedom and your resource on the table. And I would love for you to join my YouTube Breakthrough Challenge, where we're going to go in. I'll be there live with you, and I'm going to show you not only how to make videos, but make videos and content that will get found here on YouTube because they speak directly to the algorithm. I'll also walk through with you if you're like, Stormie, I don't even know what kind of videos I exactly want to make or who I would make them for. We're going to handle all of that. We're going to handle all of that. So love to have you. We start that on March 2nd. So if you are interested, jump in, because you're in your last couple days to be able to sign up for that. Okay, beautiful friends? All right, let's get into this week and see what's going on. So right at the beginning of the week, we're coming in Monday on the moon day, right? So remember, Monday is ruled by the moon in general. So in general, when you're thinking about it and you're thinking about your astrology, when we're coming in on Monday, we're coming in under that kind of emotional energy. And if you think about this and drop into the feeling or the sense of it, you come in Monday, whether it's to your house, to your office, or whatever, and there's just this kind of sense of needing to handle a couple things, but we're not doing it with any real fuerza, right? Like, we're not forcing the powers on. It's like, I'm going to clean that up. I'll handle that. Yeah, good weekend. This kind of energy, and we can bring that into our own understanding. But we're coming in with the moon in void of course position for the majority of the morning. So we're coming in where the energy is pretty quiet, okay? Unless you're getting up very early and you're still dealing with that Virgo moon energy, which maybe you're up early, you're getting organized, or you work the late shift or something like that, right? Then we hit this void of course time frame, and it is quiet. The energy's flat. It is about rest. It is about recuperation. It is about finishing up things that are in front of you. It's not about starting the new thing. So that's the vibration coming into Monday. And I want you to just kind of keep that in your mind, because that's what we're going to work with until we get to the point where the moon moves into the vibration of Libra, and then we kind of come back online, okay? So when the moon moves into that vibration of Libra, now we're looking at things about balance. We're looking at our relationships. We're looking at Libran things. Now we also will experience our emotions or the people around us, because in mundane astrology, the moon also rules the people. Okay, so everybody comes into this air moon time. Now, one of the first things that can happen is like you can start to see if people are out of balance. They feel emotionally out of balance. And in air, they're thinking. It's almost like being able to watch people try to connect their head and their heart to get their mind around what the emotions are actually feeling, right? So kind of keep that in mind, that nobody's exempt from the motion of the moons. But for you yourself, what you can do is be thinking, okay, where do I feel like I am emotionally in balance? Not just within myself, but of course, starting at home. But then into my relationships, how do I feel like I'm emotionally doing in my home life? How do I feel like I'm emotionally doing with my partner, with my pets, with my daily routine? Am I being a good friend? Do I have friends? Am I being a good companion in whatever way that works out for you? Do I have companionship in my life? Do I have beauty? What's my social life looking like right now? And do I feel like I have some balance there? These are going to be the questions and the themes of relationship that are going to govern us as we're experiencing this moon traveling through this Libra vibration. So make sure you're definitely checking in on that. Okay, now as we continue on the day and we've got that beautiful like Libra moon vibing down, we are going to see the moon later come back into a void of course position. And this is going to take us Tuesday and Wednesday energy. And I really want to focus in on that, because as we get a really long void of course period, again, the energy is not there. It's not for doing all of these new things. You're not maybe feeling up. And I don't know about you guys, but when the moon is void of course, especially lately under this shifted vibration of Pluto and Aquarius, bringing this whole new vibration for all of us to the table, for me, it's a lot easier to identify when the moon has gone void of course, because it almost feels like literally the wind has come out of my sails. So let me know if that's you, where you're like, I just can't get around this motivation. What is happening? And right, my head is like, yeah, let's just get up and do it. And my body is like, girl boss, sit down. We're not doing that. We are not doing that. So let me know if that's something you've been feeling as you're experiencing this void of course energy. So we are going to have that, and you need to know that we're going to have that for 2 days. So Tuesday and Wednesday, the plan is we're going to just be taking it easy, and we're going to be finishing things or only working on what is, not really launching new things. Now, when I tell you that this gets challenging, because what we're running into here is that we have got Mars coming into this wild conversation, this square conversation with Jupiter. So Mars is wanting to go, to push forward, to do something, to head in the direction, which is also very interesting, because as Mars is continuing here, in this vibration of Aquarius, it wants to go at multiple things because it's in an air energy. So if you've been feeling like, I'm getting all of these ideas coming in, I feel like I need to take a little bit of action here and here and here and here. Okay, that's that Martian energy in an air sign. Now, squaring against Jupiter, what actually happens is you might feel like, I need to do this. I need to take this action to be on the mission, to tackle the mission, because that square wants you, it's like squishing you down. So it wants you to do something to not get squished by the square. And Jupiter is wanting to expand out, or it's even expanding your idea of what you could be, should be doing, right? And those are challenging words, coulda, shouldas, get in here as well. So what I'm going to tell you with this vibration, to the very best of your ability, it is actually an energy. Typically, I would tell you, go for it. Start something new. Initiate that new project. Make it big. Think big. Dream big. Go for it. I am not telling you that this time. What I'm saying is work on what you already have. Really tend so beautifully well to it. Allow that void of course. I'm only working on what's in front of me. If I'm working on anything at all, allow this to be where you harness the energy of this Mars-Jupiter into moderation, into just this project right here, into I'm just going to I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be courageous and take this action on this particular project. So I want you to really be thinking about that, because the urge to do the most becomes really abundantly available as we're dealing with that energy on Tuesday. Now, we're also helped a little bit to keep the moderation in place here late Tuesday when we see Mercury and Saturn come into contact with each other. And this is actually, I think, very good for being organized, helping to ground your thinking a bit, to get it to be a bit clearer. I think that's actually very, very useful at this particular time. So your thinking and your mind and getting clear in the body and getting clear in the emotional intelligence and things like that are going to be energies that are actually very useful for you. Now, this is not it. That's not it, because we've got some other conjunction energy, and it kicks in right away on Wednesday. So Wednesday, we are going to see that, first of all, Mercury comes into conjunction with the sun. So we call this cazimi. But on the same day, we are also going to see that obviously Saturn is in that position with the sun as well. So what we've got here, when we're working at cazimi energy, is that when planets get close enough to the sun, within about, I use 1 degree orb. I know some people use something different. I use 1 degree, okay? It means they're coming into conjunction with the sun, and it's like we consider that it comes into the heart of the sun, and the sun in that big, beautiful energy burns away what is not needed and leaves energized and motivated and with a lot more clarity what each of these planets are pointing your attention to. So first of all, when we're dealing with this energy and we're looking at what's going on with Mercury coming into the heart of the sun, this clears your thinking. It's so much clarity on your thinking, but Mercury at this time is in the vibration of Pisces. So we have to keep that in mind, right? So what's happening here is that it's like, okay, I am getting clear on how I serve, who I serve, what I serve, the pieces of me. I am clear on where my higher self is being called to the table to give forgiveness that I've been denying to myself, to other people, right? And remember, we're doing this in a void of course vibration. So the ability to be reflective and the ability to do that soul searching work here is absolutely gorgeous. Now, some of you, depending on how sensitive you are, you may be starting to feel that cazimi vibration even a day ahead, but I think that this is really what is pointing more strongly to it. But the other thing that can also happen with this, besides having this clarity of focus and thinking, especially in this emotional and intuitive realm, is that you could just get busy, okay? You could just get busy. Now, Pisces is a mutable energy, so there's lots of phone calls going on. You've got an appointment that's got to be happening. There's lots of details that are coming to you, things like that. And you're getting details and information in a water energy. So it's not like they're just flowing to you with the speed and the swiftness of Mercury, how Mercury likes to communicate. Instead, it's kind of like, you drop it into a pool of water and you're having to kind of sort through that. You're trying to get clarity through water, and just looking at it intellectually is not going to work. It has to be felt through. It has to be intuited through. So this can bring that mutable, worrying energy to the table. So I do want you to be mindful of it. It's a great time, honestly, for talking very openly about what's going on, what you're seeing, what's coming to your attention. Maybe even you're sharing or you're listening to someone, because, sometimes it's like somebody is telling you something and they don't actually need the intellectual exchange of information. Have you ever done this where you're just like, I just need to say it because you're processing it. That's what's happening. You're not doing just like a garbage pail dump onto someone else. You're processing what's happening and you're feeling and intuiting through it as you're saying it out loud. And so this could definitely be the space of something like that, especially. Now, I also think that we see a bit of strength in this cazimi energy throughout the day as Saturn actually pulls into that tightness, as we see the sun and Saturn actually pull into that tighter conjunction together to their own cazimi conversation, where first of all, the things in relationships may be challenging to us. There may be some you feel some kind of way about relationships. They're changing. Maybe there's a little bit more seriousness or a reservedness. There could even be some sadness that comes into relationships, especially if they're not on track and you need to do something about it, but you feel like you don't actually have the words or you can't fully express it, right? You're having to intuit and emotionally intelligent it through is kind of what's going on there. But the other thing I think that happens is the Sun-Saturn conversation is like, I need to see me. I need to figure out where I need to be responsible, where I have my own obligations and responsibilities. I need to see what part I'm playing in the glory and the tragedy of my own life and my own story. And so it really creates a space where, whether it's the relationship, it's yourself, depending on what house this is happening in for you, there is a need and there is an understanding that your life needs tending to, and for you to be of service to your life, whether it is, something's going on behind the scenes for you. You have a pain point that is lit up, there's something from your past that has really got you stuck and it's holding you. What are you doing to treat that? What are you doing to help yourself out of the situation? Whatever it is, from your physical space to your mental space to your emotional, spiritual space. I do think that this portion of the Cazimi here later on Wednesday calls each of us to go, okay, first of all, I am responsible. I am responsible for me and my world. But also the other side is, what goals do I have that I want to set for myself? I'm here, but what would I like to be experiencing? So under that energy, it can be a time of doing the internal restructuring that we're each kind of called to under that energy, okay? Now, later in the day, we will see the void, of course, time ends and we can move back into the vibration of things. And we see the moon move into the energy of Scorpio later on Wednesday. Now, as the moon moves into Scorpio, first of all, remember that the moon is considered to be in fall here because the moon wants to feel. It wants to be very subjective about the things that it's experiencing. But in the sign of Scorpio, Scorpio wants to go to the depths. So the moon is almost like, oh my God, it's like it's being pulled down to the depths of your soul. And it was like, I don't want to feel that much, So it can be very deeply connecting. So when the moon is traveling through Scorpio energy, one of the things that we can call beautifully to our attention is our motives. Not my intention, right? My motive, the thing that's at the root of why I'm doing what I'm doing or why I'm feeling how I'm feeling, right? Like, what is the root? What am I trying to get from what I'm doing? So we really have this, it's like, contemplation, life's great mysteries of what are my motives on this planet, really become observable at this time. And I heard this great quote, and it really, I think, applies to the Scorpio moon time. But it says, the world, I was judging me on my intention, and the world is judging me on my actions. And I really have been thinking about that and thinking about how it applies to this lunation, because it's like, if I think that I'm living my best life, but I'm not paying my bills, I'm not being consistent, people don't feel like they can trust me, these are things that it's like, I have to look at that. And that Sun-Saturn that we just had shows us some really great spaces for tending to our life. But to the other side, it's this deep, sensual, connected energy where it's like, when I'm embodied and I'm responsible and I'm present and I'm clear on why I'm interacting with you, why I go to this job, why I watch this content, I show up so presently. I show up with a passion and an intensity where I even have the ability to be deeply reborn. And I think that that is true for every single one of us. So let's watch our motives. Tell me your motives, right? Like, whatever your motives are for why you're doing what you're doing, let me know in the comment section down below, especially as we get to late Wednesday, traveling through Thursday. What are you finding out? I find out all of the time that I have these little roots in me that it's like, oh, that was just laced in fear. I was doing that, thinking that, worrying about that because I was just afraid of something, and it doesn't look like it at the surface, right? Okay, so anyways, let me know what your motives are, because we're going to be under that scorpionic energy. Now, Now, the other vibration we are working with here on Thursday is that Mercury is going to come into a sextile with Jupiter. So as we're using the sextile, remember it's the pocket of opportunity, but we're intelligently taking action and going to it. So this is a great day where the small mind Mercury and the big mind Jupiter for the big plans get together. And when you think about this, think about it. Like Jupiter is like, I want to go to Bali, okay? And Mercury is like, okay, that's cute, but like, how are we going to get there? Like, we need the practical steps to get us from here to Bali, okay? So you get the big mind and the small mind put together. So when they are in this conversation of opportunity that you are taking action on under this energy, you can make your plans. You know, what are your travel plans that you want to make for your expansion, publishing, marketing, broadcasting? Maybe you are ready to launch a project. Maybe you're ready to take on a training, learn a language, whatever it is. This is a really great planning energy for you to be able to work with, okay? Because you really get, first of all, the long range benefit of Jupiter because it's so expansive, but then the intuitive detail planning of Mercury being in Pisces. So what the decisions that you're making are not just intellectual. They are like coming from a deeper place. They're coming from a place that is working between the worlds, so they can almost feel inspired. I also think it's a great day to be creative with whatever plans that you are making, okay? Now, along with making these plans, we've got Venus on the same day in a trine to the south node, but in a sextile to the north node. And so this is, again, bringing this relationship conversation. But with Venus in that trine to the south node, it creates that energy of ease. So Venus trining the south node, you see with a little bit more ease why a relationship is not the right fit for you, or the dynamics of that relationship are not the right fit. But then that sextile to the north node in Aries energy gives you the courage. It gives you the courage to step forward in the direction of what is right for you. So here you are, you're making these plans. You've had this very reflective, introspective beginning of the week, and now you're here making plans. Are you making plans with, are the people you're making plans with the right people to be making plans with? Is this relationship right for you? You know, who are the people that are like your tribe, your support team? They are encouraging you forward in the direction of change, of courage that you're needing to step into. And one of the greatest things my uncle ever told me is he was like, you know, sometimes people come together and they're traveling on the same path. And sometimes that path is just very short. Sometimes it's very long, but it doesn't matter. When the people come to the point on the path that the roads start to go like this, we got to have a conversation about if we're still travel buddies or not. And this is, I think, that energy, especially because it's the node. It's like, is this person in your destiny? Is this relationship in your destiny? Because if not, you've got to have the courage to step forward. And what this can also look like very practically, and we're seeing a ton of it now that Pluto is in Aquarius, is first of all, there's revelation. So our secrets, our pain points are revealed. So if you've got a group of friends that you've been hanging out forever, and they are not working, you're working on your finances and they're not working on their finances because they've either got it figured out or they don't want a different experience than you, you may continue to find out that you're having to break from these groupings. You have to step out into the direction of the people who are cheering on the let's improve our finances. And this can be hard. This can be hard, but with this particular configuration with Venus in this position, I think it helps make it more easy and obvious why the change needs to be made. Okay, now just behind that, the sun is going to come into this sextile with Jupiter. So I feel like it's a very supported day as we're going through Thursday. That's like boom, boom, boom. We get these different hits, okay? But as the sun is going into sextile with Jupiter, first of all, I think it is a phenomenal day. If you have a project that you want to launch, this is a great day, astrologically speaking. And this is only in the general. Of course, it will depend on what's in your chart. But typically, do you know this? There's actually only a few days a year in general that are great to launch projects. The rest is doing a lot of inner work or doing the behind the scenes work to get that thing ready for the most for the best launch ever, right? And this is one of those days. So if you have a product that you wanted to launch, something you wanted to put out, a course of study, you're just feeling happy-go-lucky as we're running towards the weekend, it is just really such an ideal for reaching some kind of goal that you wanted to expand to. So absolutely enjoy that energy and please use it for all the greatest good that is available. So as we're here on Friday, we've got the moon still continuing this travel and this conversation through the vibration of Scorpio. So we are still working in the depths, in the passion, in the motivation, in these deeper questions of why we do what we do really, truly, right? But also where we need to be supported is where I think that the conversation lends itself to on Friday, because then we are going to see that Venus does this absolutely beautiful sextile with Chiron after having just had this conversation with the nodes, right? And I think that the nodes become that first conversation. And then when Venus pops over just a degree into this Chiron conversation, this is the space where we've looked at these relationships and things like that the day before. We're making some new plans. Even if we're not writing it on paper, it's happening in our intuition and in our hearts. And then we get to this Venus Chiron and it's like, can I be open enough to, one, be teachable, two, to realize that with every mistake I've made, I am still valuable and able to learn. And third, and I think most important, is am I willing to be loved? Am I willing to be loved? Am I willing to take this new identity out in the world, let people love on it, let me get to know it, share it with the world, collaborate with people where I need to? Am I willing to do this and begin to drop my resistance, right? The resistance to the new truth that is, because I really can't stress this enough to you. If you're out in the world and feeling like these people this tribe, this group, this organization, this country doesn't fit where I want to go anymore, the real courage to step into the direction and new collaboration with people who can show you a different thing is a big deal. But it's not just about getting to the tribe, it's joining and letting the tribe love you. Let them be passionate with you. It's the difference between being in the closet doing astrology and then joining a little astrology community, and then you can say all the astro things out loud and people are like, yes, yes, yes. We're looking for that level of healing and love that can come with this sextile that's happening between Venus and Chiron. So I wish you all the good that I think that particular arrangement can bring to you. Now, as we get into Saturday morning, we're going to be experiencing that void of course moon until the moon gets here into the vibration of Sagittarius. So the Sag vibe will take us, through the rest of the weekend. And it's like, whew, we've just been to the depths of ourselves and back. Let's come out and relax and breathe and have a little party for just the weekend. The vibe gets lighter. Our emotional lives get lighter. It also gets a lot more social. Now, questions that we want to be considering as the moon is in Sagittarius is, first of all, what is the new truth that I know? Because the truth sets me free. Even if it pissed me off first, the truth does set me free, and it sets me on a path, even with the moon just in my heart, where I can see a pathway forward, even if that path is absolutely foreign, right? It doesn't have to be me moving abroad to Spain. Maybe the pathway forward is just foreign to me because I've never felt like, or it's been so long since I felt like the way that I need to be loved is acceptable and I can go to it and I'm allowed to have it without shame, without guilt, without needing to justify wanting to have a different adventure in my life. This is the vibration we work with for the next couple of days. And isn't that delicious? Is that not delicious? But it requires that we do Sagittarian things. I have to be honest with myself about who I am, where I am, what it is, the journey that I want to go on. Because if I can't be clear on what the problem is, I cannot join with others and be teachable about a solution with practical steps to get to that solution, to absolutely have this different adventure in my life. So yes, eat that, get sage, get basil, eat saffron, whatever Sagittarian spices feel like they are calling your name, try it out. Try it out and see how it doesn't shape up your Saturday. So just enjoy some of the social energy that is definitely available for you as you're traveling on Saturday. Now on Sunday, we've got two particular arrangements of energy that I think are really important and impactful on Sunday, okay? So the first is we have got Venus coming into a square with Uranus. Now we need to back up for just a minute to remember that we just saw Venus and Mars come into a new 2-year cycle with each other. And that 2-year Venus-Mars cycle is resetting for each of us the way that we actually engage with ourselves, our whole relationship to ourselves, to our thinking, to our willingness to group and to tribe together, and our willingness to put pride aside and be teachable to join this new world that we're coming into. And sometimes it's simply that there's so many options and ideas that I'm not actually sure which thing is me, so I'm having to let ideas come in and float around. Let me know if you've been experiencing that, right? That it can be interesting trying to suss out what the new relationship is to us. Now, with Venus coming into this square with Uranus, anytime Uranus gets involved, first of all, we get it's electric. It's quick. Uranus is like, make a decision. Stop. You need to pick a direction. You need to do something. It brings an element of like, I love Rick Levine describes it as the lightning bolt. If you've been sitting on the fence between two things, Uranus strikes like a lightning bolt to get you to split and have to go one way. So as Venus and Uranus come into this square with one another, one of the first things that happens is what you have been doing in a relationship or with your finances is going to absolutely be brought to your attention. It will be brought to your attention because if you have something in your relationship, in your finances, in how you've been valuing yourself, your creative talents, if it's stable, then this brings in a vibration of, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I've caught the vibration. I understand this. Something new is coming in and it's very exciting and we're going in a different direction. And it's like, whoa, that's different. I don't know where that came from. If that is not the case, what this can feel like is like an event happens or something happens to you and you are like, whoa. If that's not what it looks like, if there are cracks in the cement here, something has to be done and action has to be taken in order to create freedom here, because this square is telling you like something is not free, something is not free floating. We need to innovate here in this relationship, this finance, this dynamic, this level of grouping, whatever it is, something has to be innovated. Now, the one thing I can also say too with Uranus is if you try to suppress Uranian interaction, you're like, nope, I'm just going to be a good girl. I'm just going to keep it steady. What it can feel like is the intensity of the need to break out of this square can go through the roof. And then it can be an explosion of some variety, okay? And with Venus in mind, it's a financial or a relationship explosion in some way, shape, or form, okay? Now, let's think about this in a positive way, because this does happen where you're out and about with your social Sagittarius moon talking, or maybe you're doing a summit, whatever you're doing, there's a social vibration that is available here. And somebody turns up and boom, we are in love. We are in love. Where are you? Who are you? Where did you come from? Listen, I say do you 1,000%, but I also want you to remember that what Uranus brings in, it also quickly takes away. So whatever and whoever comes here, give it some space. Give it some space to breathe. And if it's like you found a new store you want to shop at, you found a new group and you are so into it for the next week, through the weekend, for a month, and then it just quickly, you're like, yeah, I'm not about that anymore. It's okay. It's okay, because whatever this excitement or this changeability that Uranus brings into your table, it is just about getting you on a different course for a minute. And sometimes I think it is the universe really doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. It's like, listen, I am drowning. This cannot just be all that it is. And the universe is like, oh, it's not. Here's a little life raft. And so you get it for 48 hours and then you got to get out of the boat. So sometimes it brings that level of shakeup, but it will be bringing a shakeup that could easily crawl itself into Monday. Now, the last event that we've got going on that caught my attention for Sunday is that we're coming into the last quarter moon at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. So I want you to go back into your chart at 13 degrees of Sagittarius and identify what house this is happening in for you. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video on how to find the active transit. I'll make sure it's at the end of this video, but it's also in the description box down below, okay? So when we're looking at this last quarter moon, what we're doing is we're turning away from and bringing something to completion. Now, the beginning of this started, go back into your life, December 4th of 2021, and we had the new moon eclipse happening at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. So what were you planting your seeds of intention about to expand? Some adventure that you wanted to go on, and you were planting your seeds of intention with that particular energy. Now, when we got to September 3rd of 2022, this energy came to first quarter at 11 degrees of Sagittarius. So now you are in action with something that you began in December of 2021. You're doing, you're moving, you're shaking. The things that can't travel with you or are not a part of the goal start falling out. Now we come to June 4th of 2023, and we've got a full moon that is happening at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. So you were asked to end something, acknowledge something, make an adjustment, bring it to a culmination, or pivot if you needed to, okay? Now we're at the end of that. As we're here on March 3rd, we have got this last quarter moon again at 13 degrees of Sagittarius, and you're done with it. You're done. It's time to release this. It's time for the new vision. You know, maybe you are getting recognition for something that you did or you built. Perhaps you are, just energetically even disconnecting from what that was that you started in December of 2021. So go back into your life, go back to your journals, think about what was going on, especially around Sagittarian concepts. And again, go to the house in your chart and see what's at 13 degrees and what was the department of life that you were experiencing. You were getting seasoned because Sag is ruled by Jupiter. And so you would have been having these experiences. Let me know what it is. What are you ending? What are you putting away in the comment section down below? And this week, I will also share with you in our community tab what I find out, because I'm going to go back to my books and take a look at what was going on. Let's share our stories in the community tab this week. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, it's a busy week. Remember, we've got 2 days in the middle that you're resting, but what you're also doing is reflecting. That's the thing you're doing, is reflecting on or making decisions about what is already, or maybe even some things from the past, but it's really not the newness until we get ourselves moved into Thursday. Okay? All right, beautiful friends, I love you. I hope to see you in the classes that are coming up in these next weeks, and I will absolutely see you next week. Bye, everyone.